Welcome, everybody, to the Chicken Coop, a podcast where we bring in guests. Today's guest is someone very special because I was really starstruck. He has a huge voice acting portfolio. I mean, big. He's voice acted for characters at Nintendo, ranging from the GameCube era all the way to actually the Switch, because he reprised his role as Bowser for the Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door remake. And yes, he has played Bowser in multiple games, from Galaxy to Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, and I could just go on and on and on. But that being said,
no, do go on, keep going.
Well, he was in Extraction. Level Zero Extraction. That was the latest project that came out. Yeah, he's written for commercials. He's actually been. I mean, this guy's. Well, anyway, welcome, Scott Burns. Scott Burns, let me introduce you with the ceremonial. That being said, just to get the fanfare question out of the way, what was it like working for Nintendo? Because again, I was just starstruck when I was just like,
Well, I was starstruck too, in the fact that I'd never. This would be it wasn't my first video game that I had. Prior to that, I had been working for Humongous Corporation. I don't know. Did any of you play Putt Putt? Join us the parade? Or
yes.
Yeah. Or Fatty.
Love Putt Putt.
Yeah. So I was like Mr. Baldini, the world's worst Italian accent. Putt Putt. Yeah. I think Mr. Baldini had him go pick up some groceries for him. Hey, Dad, a Putt Putt. How do you do it? It wouldn't fly today, but at the time it was great fun. So I'd done a lot of work for them, but and Nintendo of America was based in Seattle area, and so I was fortunate enough that they would cast locally. This is kind of prior. Well, this was 2002, so the internet was the internet going? I don't know. They had ISDN then, but anyway, I was called into Studio Bad Animals in Seattle and to audition for it. Fortunately, because I knew the studio manager there, and she knew me and my work and everything, and so it was kind of nice to get a kind of a personal invite, even though other people were auditioning for the role. So and it was just two guys and their laptops, and that's they basically said. To Bowser, I'd never really had known of Bowser before. I knew Donkey Kong, and Mario and all that, but they had a picture for me of him just doing that, and they said, now he's a monster, but we don't want him too mean because kids are going to play him. You guys, they don't. So I thought, well, okay. This is just trying to find the voice for him, because the Bowser I did was the first ever speaking voice, the English speaking voice of Bowser, kind of a comical kind of thing. So I decided to put a growl, to do a growl, but I thought, well, who's nice to kids? Who do kids trust and are not afraid of? And I thought, well, Santa Claus. Nobody, is afraid of Santa Claus. So I basically put a growl on Santa Claus, and it came out kind of like, Mario, how dare you disturb my family vacation? So, and that was it. That, I think Meryl Streep has adapted that technique as well. But that's how Bowser was born. And I also did the voice of Toadsworth.
Yeah.
For that was just a. I'm trying to think who I was trying to do. He looked like a little professor kind of guy, so I kind of went up into that range of no, okay, here we are. Now, boys, don't touch that stuff. So that became Toadsworth. What I loved about Nintendo, these two guys, was that they were open to doing it. Okay, let's go with that. So it was easy. And then for the role of the Pianta judge and the prosecutor, I basically adapted Andy Devine. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Andy Devine. He was a character actor in the 1940s and 50s westerns. Big, heavy set guy. And he was also. Do you remember the show Flipper? The 60s.
Yeah.
You've seen it in real. So he was the guy. I forget his name. Bud? No, that was Bud and Sandy. Anyway, he was the one. Now, Bud, you and go get the skiff and I'll get Flipper. He was that kind of a guy.
Oh.
Oh,
So
okay.
he
I
was
remember that
always
voice.
talking like that, and he was very slow, and his teeth weren't that good. So that became the prosecutor. And it has come to our attention that Mario has been defacing Isle Delphine. So and then just for the judge, they just sped him up. Because I guess that's the way all the Piantas talk.
Hmm.
So they just pitched him up a little bit. Court is now in session. So they sped that up. So I'm in that game through a bunch of different characters, but of course Bowser is the main.
Well, it's
The
not
main.
just what you said it yourself. It's not just that one. Nintendo. You were in Star Fox Assault.
Yes. Beltino Toad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So Beltino's he's kind of a cross between. I'm trying to think. We did it, team. It's kind of a little bit of the Toadsworth, where he's the professor, and I don't know where that comes from. I used to do Paul Harvey impersonation. I'm not, and again, forgive my cultural pop references, but these people are long dead and gone now. But Paul Harvey was a broadcaster, and he talked like this, and he had long pauses in between his sentences, but I just borrowed the voice a bit for him, and he kind of had that. Now, boys. I don't know. It's I figure, well, it's a different game. There, I can use the same voices for for different characters and things like that. So, but yeah, that was I don't remember much of that game other than they did it, team. They won the alliance or whatever they did in Star Fox.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, it was like such a stark. Don't you like? How do I put this? Because like Mario versus Star Fox, huge contrast in terms of tone. So it's just all like, wow, okay, like it's nice that you kept your upbeat self. For Toad, like because for Toad, like it was especially in that universe because um because Star Fox has you like flying around, shooting up well, all manner of stuff, and killing all, essentially like either lizards or ape people. Long story. I don't like even the lore is kind of yeah, because the main character cast essentially, depending on which version you go with, the main character cast actually has robotic legs,
Yeah.
and it's to help with G-force. So when you take that into context, you kind of you're like, wait a minute, did those animals take their legs out and replace them with bionics? And so it's just like yeah, it's yeah.
Well, here's the not the ugly truth, but the truth is a lot of time I had no idea or concept what the game was. One, I wasn't a gamer then, and I didn't have access to see what the characters were. A lot of the times it was usually just a description, and so I knew it was a star, galaxy kind of thing, but. But a lot of times you're just given a spreadsheet of lines to read,
Yeah.
and you kind of have to make up where you are in the game, or what you're doing. I forget which game it was. There was another one where they had no concept, so I just imagined in my brain that I was in a maze, with this walls, and I had a gun, and I was just had to kind of work my way through the maze and be on the lookout for whoever might be there to get me or something. That was my reference, was just making that up. And I think that was Police Quest or another. There's a bunch of them that kind of overlapped a little bit to where, again, I don't know, what the game was for, and I didn't find out until later either. Sometimes you say, "Hey, can I get a copy of the game?" Yeah, if you buy it. I mean, I was hoping that they would,
Oh, come on, that's so
I know it, but
That's insane.
they would give you as a little gift, a token, but no, you had to go, and I have to buy a console too. Oh my goodness! So, it's the fun is just going in and getting to pretend and say things and pretend like you're shooting guns at people.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, the actor who played Liu Kang and Shang Tsung in the first Mortal Kombat movie back in the '90s, they didn't know it was a fighting game at all. Matter of fact, when they were brought in, I forget by whom. They were just like, "Hey, you enjoyed playing these characters, but did you know it was a fighting game?" And the two actually played the fighting game for the first time, despite the fact that the movies and the games have been out for over 30 years. So it was like,
Well,
yeah, it's nice to know that like even though even though you might not know the whole context, you're just like, no, I'll just make this character mine. Boom.
yeah, and sometimes you maybe you aren't the shooter. You know, you're just a peripheral character or something that's involved in it. So you don't know unless you're called upon to do exertion sounds and getting shot and that kind of stuff. Then you just don't know. Nowadays, I mean, I just recorded last in June for a game. The non-disclosure agreement was robust, and so I can't even. I actually don't know what the game is for, or when it's going to be released. That's how stringent they were with it. So there were some exertion sounds and things like that to do. So I'm excited to learn about that. But it's they don't. They even said don't do any podcasts, but that's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough. Actually, that was one of forget. I think that was Robert's question that he was going to ask you. If you were like working on anything, but you can't because of an NDA.
Yeah, in a pipe.
There, and that's because it seems like almost everybody has an NDA. You know, if you audition for some things, there's in the preliminary audition you have to sign, fill out a form, or it just says by opening this email, you agree to blah blah blah. So it's kind of given. I don't know what would happen if you broke it. You know, if SUVs with black tinted windows would roll up and they'd come home. But I really don't want to find out when I'm auditioning. But no, it's exciting. And for a while I was kind of thinking that, oh man, are my video games over? Because there hasn't been I've auditioned for a number of them, but I'm thinking, well, am I being aged out? Or you go through all that stuff the actors mentality goes through, but this was just one of those, and I almost didn't even audition for it because I thought, oh, it's another NDA thing. I got to fill out all these forms, and I just don't have time for it until I read the description of the character, and I thought, well, I can do that. I'll crank that one out, and you learn to forget it. You do them and then forget about it because if there are some you think, wow, that would be wouldn't that be great, and you fantasize about it, and then you get worked up and not when you don't get it. And whatever, but so you kind of have to train yourself to, I did my best. I think, and I hope they like it, and we'll see. And then I got like 4 weeks later, I got the email. Casting would like to know your availability, and I'm just and I had to go back and look and see what it was that I auditioned for, and it was like, ooh, this will be fun. So yeah, that one paid off.
Cool. On that note, because you mentioned aged out, and because I really hate to change the tone, but this still needs to be asked, like, because I know, for the voice actors union, they AI is out, right? But like, is that fear still a very reality? I mean, like, I thought that was negotiated out from what I read. Because Activision Blizzard was one of the biggest perpetrators of it. They still use it in Call of Duty. Yeah, I'm anti AI very much so. But
Yeah.
I was wondering, are you still like afraid of AI coming back in, trying to worm its way into voice acting and stuff like that? Like, do you want to share your 2 cents on that?
Yeah, it's funny because for a while you're familiar with Fiverr.
Yes.
So everyone thought that's the it's the bottom of the barrel for voiceover now because people are going to be working for $5. That's the end of the world. Well, now I actually think AI is probably encroaching on Fiverr. So one boogeyman replaces the next boogeyman. That would be a good character, but I don't know. Yeah, AI is here. It is pretty amazing what it can do. It's not perfect. I don't know how many YouTubes you guys watch. I end up watching a lot, and it gets annoying to hear the same voice doing different things like that. But then you can tell if it's AI after a while, especially when they start messing up names and the years. I watched one about the rumors of John Travolta. Are the rumors true? Well, the narrator was, and then the rum hours began. the rum hours, and I'm going, wait a minute. Oh, he's saying rumors, rum. So
Oh,
I know
Oh,
it's like, oh, okay, and then you read down in the comments and like everyone's going rum hours, yeah. So it is getting better. I don't. I really don't think especially for video games, I know that they still need and want real people because you can't, the, you can adjust, I think, an AI voice to be angry or, bring it down a little bit. It depends on the size of the project, I'm sure. But for the big games, I think that they're always going to need real people. So, uh, my thought of being aged out was just like, am I relevant anymore? Yeah, I am. But this is the thing too. A lot of the work that I obtained was in Seattle, and a lot of the game developers were pretty entrenched in Seattle with Nintendo and Monolith, which now became sold to Warner Brothers, but
yeah.
and Bungie, Sierra, all these. But then they kind of they shifted their headquarters down to LA too, and I happened to get to meet Jay Wineland, who was the audio manager, the sound designer for Bungie at one point, and I was pretty well blown away how much intricacy they put into the weaponry. If you have a weapon, well, they will, instead of just having like the gun casings or the sound of that, they'll come up with like 100, 200 different sounds of the casings leaving the weapon and hitting, not just the same chking, chking, chking. So yeah, and then they'll take that and, well, what do those sound like at a distance of 5 feet away, 50 yards away? So they're very involved. And I said, for the local talent that used to be hired, and he said, well, there's just a bigger talent pool now in Los Angeles, which is true. There's 200 people available for a role. I think I've veered off the course of what your question was about. I know it was AI. See, this is where a computer would help. It wouldn't get off track like I do. But the fear of losing out to AI, I'm sure for some of the smaller productions, yes, possibly. I can see where that could be a time saver. But again, the AI needs to be able to do more intricate kind of acting. I think
More range? Is that
yeah, more range. Yeah, I mean, you can program it. If it's let's say it's a commercial, you only have a 60-second commercial that you're need a female voice for or whatever like that. Yeah, I can see using that if she's just going to say, "Hey, honey, are you home?" Or something like that, maybe. Because I used to produce commercials, so I've always thought, well, that would be handy to have. I need a female voice here for this commercial, and do I want to go through the whole process of bringing somebody in, which I love to do, but then you have to, there's a process to hire live people because they have to come either to the studio or you have to make arrangements to make sure that the quality is great, that they can record from home and set up a time. But if you can just type something into a field and have it spit it out, that would be a big time saver.
Right.
But for those applications, yeah, I can see where some of the voice acting community might be, in danger of not being hired. But the industry evolves and has evolved and is continually evolving. So it's kind of like use it or lose it, or learn how to adapt, I guess, for it and become more known to producers who are well aware of and appreciate real live human beings and all the talents that they possess. So if you can be of service to them, they can be of service to you by hiring you.
Cool.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your 2 cents. Gabe actually had a question. I don't want to step on this. It's like when me, Gabe, and Robert met, we were just like, okay, because I don't want to like take their voice if that makes any sense. I'd rather them ask the questions. Like Gabe was wondering like, oh, voice acting, video games. Did you?
Yes.
Yeah. Good work, Gabe.
yeah. So honestly, you kind of touched on a lot of stuff already that I was interested in asking you, which is awesome. But I've Let's see. I know you've done a lot of commercial work for like Boeing, Microsoft, McDonald's. I think I saw the Georgia lottery there as well. How does that differ from, I guess, video game voice acting?
Wow. Well, not much. Really, it was funny. You should touch on the lottery commercials. It's because the lottery commercials are always the most fun. They're more because when you think about it, the lotteries don't have to really sell themselves or convince you to come in and, like buy a car or anything like that. If you're going to play the lottery, you're going to play the lottery. So they have all this creative freedom just to be fun and just have, create just to play basically. So a lot of their scripts and their copy is just, it's built around the fantasy of what if I won and all this other stuff. So they just go crazy. So I've done a couple of lotteries. Yeah, lottery spots are fun because that's where you can get the most creative with auditioning. For one of the Georgia lottery spots, I've done a couple, and they had it's like an ice cream truck. It's a bunch of people at their it's a guy talking over the hedge of talking to his neighbor, and there's, hey, nice roses you planted there, and then all of a sudden they hear the chimes of like an ice cream truck, but it's really the Scratchers. This was the Georgia Lottery, the Scratchers game. Yeah. So it was the Scratchers truck, and then everybody's, is that the Scratchers? And then all of a sudden now the whole neighborhood is running through, and the Scratcher truck's here, the Scratcher truck's here. So I read for the guy, the neighbor, and also for one of the crazy neighbors, and to do that effectively, I put my microphone. It was on a stand, and at the little studio I had, the desk, I put it on the desktop, and I literally ran around the room yelling.
That's awesome.
At one point, I came up to the mic. The Scratcher truck's here. The Scratcher truck. Yeah, it's just that oral 360 sound effect, and that got me the job. So I don't know if other people were just going, the Scratcher truck's here. The Scratcher truck's here. No, I wanted to be manic about it. So that's how I do it too with the video game, especially for acting. In games or features, you want the producers to hear how they're going to use it. So I always tell my coaching students or whatever, if you want to really believe, make it sound like you want it to make it sound like it was taken from like they pulled a clip from the show or whatever. For instance, like using that mic technique. If I want to walk in the room, or if I'm entering a room and saying, "Your Majesty, I'm worried about the 3D." I'm not going to just say, "Your Majesty, I'm worried about the 3D, or the 7D, the seven dwarfs, or whatever." Mm-hmm. I'm going to come in. I'm going to start from the back of the room, or at least where the microphone sounds like I'm from the back of the room. "Your Majesty, I am worried about the 3D," and then I'm going to approach the microphone to make it sound like I'm coming up to to her proximity.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So that's I use that effect for those, and again for commercial work. There's kind of a taboo in auditioning. There's a whole protocol for auditioning for voice actors, and mainly, do you give them one take? Do you give them two takes? Do you ad lib? Do you throw in all these? There's a lot of do's and don'ts, and I don't know who wrote the do's and don'ts. It just has kind of evolved. But one of the don'ts was don't put music to your audition, or because they'll think you can make the commercial better than they do, or don't. Just a lot of that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, and I can understand that because they want to hear what you sound like, what your voice sounds like, and if you doctor it up and pretty it up with music or whatever, it's a distraction, and that would be annoying. So okay, I adhere to that, but there are some cases where the specs, they will say, for instance. This is for the Alaska USA Federal Credit Union, and they're all about neighbors helping neighbors. And the commercial was going to be cinematic. It said it's going to sound like we have a narrator, but we want sound bites of a couple driving through the fields of Alaska, back roads of Alaska. A neighbor has pulled into a snowbank, and they're going to help rescue her and pull her out. And the wife has made some cookies for her and everything. It's very Minnesota. But anyway, so it called for the sound of them pushing the car out all right, push, 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 and all of that kind of stuff. So, okay, I will do that. So I've grown up in Idaho, so I know what having a car stuck in a snowbank is like. So I actually physically got up from my desk and pushed on the desk. It was sturdy enough that I could do that to where I could, you know, okay,
Yeah.
go, move, move. And I know I can edit all this later. It's not like it's a live one read. I can edit and put this all together.
Right.
But when I listen back to it, it sounds like, man, that sounds like I'm having a seizure. doing all that stuff, and I thought, well, it said cinematic, and it's going to sound like there's a clip, and I thought, well, why not produce it and make it sound cinematic? So I took that track and I thinned it up to make it sound like it was an outdoor microphone, like it was from a movie, and I had sound effects of tires spinning, and I even put in a little bit of air to make it sound like Alaska air,
Right.
And I was quite happy with it because it sounded like it was a scene from a TV show or a movie. And I sent that in. And what I did, though, on the slate, when you slate your name and who you are and all that kind of stuff, I slated it with first take for context, followed by the dry track. And by the dry track, I meant I gave them the voice that I did, but without all the effects, so they could hear, okay, here's what he sounds like without it, and just to show that, yeah, to give them, okay, this is the raw track, basically. I call it dry track, but I booked the job. And the engineer said, no, that was cool. That was, because I thought, is that a bad thing to do? I'm sorry I did that. And he goes, no, it really helped. So, and I've done that in not all the time, but in other cases where I felt like, man, this really needs the sound of a helicopter. So I'm up in a helicopter right now, and I will do it. And I've booked work from it. And some of the people who say you're not supposed to do that, I said, yeah, well, I booked the job, and okay, but that's you. Okay, yeah, but I don't care. So I broke the rules, but it worked in my favor. So, and I don't do it all the time, and there have been times where I've done it and produced it and haven't booked anything. But more times than I can count, it's worked for me. And I told my wife that I want to share this, and she said, don't. It's a secret. Other people will do it. So, but I'm sharing it with you, so you can all do it if you want.
Well, okay. So for the record, I only do voice acting to either as a hobby or to save company money, because if I do it as like a job, for some reason, whenever I have to do it as a job, I hate it. It just makes me feel. It just irks me in the wrongest way. I don't even know why. It just.
You don't have the actor's blood inside of you, Doug.
Yeah, sure. Let's call it that.
Are you reading for? Now, are these for actual jobs or auditions?
I mean, kind of, sort of both. And like, if they want me to just like, for instance, this was years ago though. This person was all like, "Okay, read this in your usual tone." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Okay." This company offers this, and it also does this, and and like, oh, you did it. You did a great job. I'm like, great, yay. If you've ever watched like any of my cartoons, that Madhouse House produced, from Obama's Dark Secret to Attack on Gossip to hell, whenever I'm doing my educational stuff, because I also do it, the narrator. I feel like I'm having fun with that, but like if I understand that it's a job, I understand that, but I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Well, and that's going to come through. So if it's an audition and you're hating it, they can smell the stench of desperation that's going to, that's not going to sell. But yeah, if you're having fun, that is actually going to come through. So you kind of need to adjust your thinking, I think, and pretend that you're having fun. Maybe, I guess there've been studies about smiling. There's something about the act of smiling that does make you feel better. I don't know what it is, but you look silly doing it. But if you just doing that, your brain is all connected and go, oh, we must be happy, I guess. Okay, so here we go. It's that will come through. That will print through if you're not having fun with it. So, but even for commercial work, yeah, I still love applying character work in the for bland, like bank commercials and things like that. And can I share a little tip with you? It's nothing new, but it's a warm up exercise, and it works so well. If you, let's say, and I'm guessing too that you might have difficulty of coming up with a different voice, or coming up with when they say we're looking for conversational, yeah, okay. But I tend to sound like the old radio voice. I get that, oh, you're sounding like a radio. I still can't break that. So to get out of that and to find a different kind of voice, I will do what I call a character cloak, kind of like a Harry Potter invisibility cloak. It's nobody knows you're in the room, but you're there. So the trick is, if you have a piece of copy, and I don't, but if you read it all the way through first as a character, and it can be Santa Claus, it can be anybody you want. And the dumber the better, the more outlandish the better. The trick is, read it all the way through in that character, and then at the very end, you take 1 second, and then you start over immediately as yourself, and just let whatever your voice is fall out of your mouth, and not think about anything. Just let it will happen. If you do it all in character first, take a beat, and then start immediately without resetting or rethinking anything. It's like your brain, the character takes over, and just kind of, it's like a free fall, like a retina burn. When you stare at the light and then you close your eyes and then you can still see the image of the lamp, but it fades. Everything that the character did is now washing over you read. For instance, I don't have a piece of copy here. I'll do a bit of, I do have the Future Farmers of America creed memorized. I'll try that. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's say I want to get just a regular read, a sincere read or something. So I'm going to go over the top with, I believe in the future of farming with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Achievements won by past and present generations of agriculturists and the promise of better days through better ways. I believe in the future of farming with a faith born not of words, but of deeds. Okay, now I'm not going to do the whole thing, because now my brain has already said, no, that sucks, because I'm doing this live. But do you understand what happens? That over the top speech orator guy is there. It's there in the background. I invite you to try it with your own piece of copy or something and see how well it works for you. You have to commit to it and not start laughing through the fact that you just did a stupid, dumb voice. But it helps just take you out of the equation, and it's a way to do characters, to be, have fun, do the fun stuff of characters, and apply it to the stuff that you might find boring, and just it actually becomes fun. And when you start having fun, watch the bookings come in, because they're hearing it, and that's a lot of things too. The people that you're auditioning for, they want to work with you. They want to know who they're working with. And if you're fun, maybe your voice isn't even the one that they were looking for, but if there's something that's like, God, this guy would be fun to work with, let's bring him, let's use him, so it's all psychological bait, but if you're having fun and doing what you love, that will print.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic advice. That ties back to the whole, like, they can hear when you're smiling thing too. Yeah, I mean, your physical body has, I guess, memory too. So if you psych yourself up for something and then do something else, it'll carry on to that next task.
Yeah, it is. It's and even the smiling thing helps too. Here's another thing: if you have a microphone and you're popping your P's, if you're getting too close to it with the plosives, if you smile, the curvature of your lip takes away some of that.
Shit!
Here's a way to figure this out. Do this little trick. Say Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers into your palm of your hand, and you'll go ahead here, Doug.
Peter Pan has. I'm sorry. What was the rest of the
Oh my God!
Peter Piper picked what is it?
Peck of pickled peppers. But you can hear those plosives, right? You can. I mean, you can feel them. You can feel the air on your hand if you're going. Peter Piper, so that's what your microphone is getting. You're just getting slammed with those plosives. But if you smile, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickle pepper. There's no plosives coming out because the curvature of your mouth is going up, and it's not allowing that out. And the side benefit of the curvature of smiling, you sound more sincere. You sound more. That comes through. So it's like as the old saying used to go, smile when you say that. Use that, partner.
Oh my
I guess
God,
speaking of technique, Robert, didn't you have some questions about?
Yes, Robert.
Yeah, no, yeah, you covered a lot of it. I guess I was wondering because we talked about you doing commercials and then also video games. Have you ever tried doing some anime voice acting? Were you ever interested in doing that, or you did it, just didn't get the job, or?
No, never, and I've never tried. Anime is that's a different. They're having to match the lip smacks, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of
they
times
give you a script and I guess the original animation, and so you have to try to do the read while matching the
yes,
I guess mouth movements of the character.
and that I've never been given the opportunity to audition for it, and I think it would be interesting to do. I have done loop or dubbing, for funny videos and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Old, so where you do watch the mouth, where you have to match as much as possible for the, there was years ago, the first one I did was, it was an ad award show, for the Addies in Seattle, they call them. And they were playing old clips from old movies, the 40s, but pertaining to things going on with the advertising agent. It was a parody and stuff. So you did have to watch and try to get the words to match as much as possible, to watch them for that. Right. I even did that for Bowser because they had, I got to watch they had the beep, beep, beep thing because they had a little animation of him. I think it was for Mario Tennis where he wins, he jumps up, ho, 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 and does he laughs and he's holding up the trophy or something like that. So I had to watch, I had to loop to myself basically, to watch that. And that's fun. But it is a timing thing, and you just kind of have to. It's hard to explain. It's like read ahead, or you have to anticipate what the movements are going to be. And anymore, they can. You can get close enough to it, and they can slide it around digitally to make it match. But at the time, they wanted to get it as close to possible. But yeah, for anime, that's a full job of doing that. So I haven't done it. But
okay.
If you know somebody, throw me a script.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. Okay, that came out of my throat. How would one? Because one thing I wanted to touch up on was your voiceover coaching.
Yes.
You do that as well. How do I put this? Because this was something that was itching at me in the back of my mind. Like, how voice coaching work? Because a long time ago, when Cow and Chicken, they did Cartoon Network did a behind the scenes. Hold on, let me try to English again. Thank you. Cow and Chicken did a behind the scenes thing where they had the red guy talking about how he does voice acting, and he basically said, "Take your voice out of your nose." And something inside of me clicked. And I was able to start, making my voice as versatile as it can be. But I never actually went through any formal, I guess, coaching. But I was wondering, how would that even work? How does one find their voice through a voice coach if it's their body? If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I don't have a whistle, Time out. No, for me, and coaching kind of came because I was asked to teach a class in intro to voiceover.
Really? Oh, okay, cool.
And the agent had a woman who had been teaching it, but the woman got a job at a local studio at Pure Audio and didn't want to do that anymore. And I didn't want to be a teacher because of that old acumen, or that those who can't do teach. That whole thing, and those who can't teach shop. So, but because I was kind of, you know, and I know it's a dumb old, I don't know what the word is, saying or whatever. But she said, but you're a working voice actor, so it's not that. And at the time, I was, you know, producing demos for people too, and I thought, well, maybe this might work into somebody who needs a demo. So okay, I gave it a shot. And what it turned out to be was just directing, which is what I was doing with the commercial audio
Yeah.
job, and I loved it. And I love being on both sides of the glass and being able to coach. Hey, let's try this. Let's do that. Try doing it a little slower. You know, all that kind of stuff. So that's basically what it was just coaching people through a piece of copy of how, you know, try this, try that. And it's not like, you know, for beginners, I just take people where they're at. Where are you in your life, in your career, you know, and stuff, and we just build on that. It's not like, I know there are some coaches who, no, that's not it. You know, no, you're doing it wrong. It's negative, and it's not helpful at all. I'm a pretty happy guy, and I like positive outcomes, and when things click, that works. So I that started with the group classes, and then when the woman retired, she was, you know, running it. She retired, and I just took it on myself, and had some group coaching on my own. But then Zoom came along and made it possible for people not just in the Seattle area, but, you know, from all around and stuff. So basically what I do is like, what do you want to work on? You know, and I send scripts. I have, if it's commercials, I find out that your age range and the gender, of course, and I've saved practically all of my auditions over the years, and I've acquired other ones. I'm always on the lookout for new, fresh copy, and so I will send like 7 scripts that we can work with, and then it's like we're kind of going through here. We just, okay, let's start with Coca-Cola one. And then you analyze it. You know, it's just, here's the process I use to break down a script, and my focus is too on how to win that audition, because that's the key. When you get the job, it's up to the director how they want you to read it. But I like to help in, you know, get the job. Even when I audition, I talk kind of primarily, or I aim my work towards the audio producer, because I know that hopefully they're going to be the one that will be hearing it and using it. But if, again, going back to producing auditions, you know, here's how you can use me. And that's kind of the in the back of my brain, you know, subliminal messages. I think this is what I know this is how you can use this with a nice cut of music. I'm going to deliver that. So every copy's different. Every project is different. And so there's many different ways to approach a script. And that's how I coach, is just basically, how can I help you get the job? And things you can use later when you're auditioning on your own, because we're all self-directors now, you know, and have been for years.
Yeah, that's huh. I never really thought of it like we're all self-directors.
Well, yeah. I mean, it used to be back in the day, you would go into audition. You would either go into your agent's office, and she or he would have a cassette recorder. Anybody know what a cassette recorder is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a microphone, and here's your copy, and you stand there in their dumb office, and it sounds terrible, you know. But okay, and then you have to read the script, you know, and do it good. You know, you can't. There's no, I can edit this later. If it was bad, my agent Carol would say, let's try one more time. I think they want it happy. Okay, all right, let's try that. So she'll back it up, you know, and to where it was, because she's got a whole list of everybody else in her office coming in, and she's putting them linearly on the tape. So it was ancient methodology back then, but now, you know, since the advent of the internet and the Zoom, or, you know, everything, we don't go into agents' offices anymore. Maybe some in the big cities they might still, but it's a rarity. So now you're having to wear the director's hat and the producer's hat, and then you have to edit yourself too. So there's all these different hats you have to wear. If you don't wear hats, I suppose you could wear a stocking cap. I don't know, but yeah. So now you're on your own. and that's where coaching does help come in for people, because it's like, hey, open. I've had coaches that I've worked with that, me as the student, I generally don't like it because I feel like I'm on the spot, but I learn so much from, I get from their perspective, their experience, and hey, try this and try that and stuff. And over the years, I've accumulated everything. So, like the character cloak thing, that isn't mine, but it works, and it's the one thing that I go to all the time if I'm in need of something. I do a lot of different warm ups, and a lot of it was primarily just kind of goofing around first, having fun with it, and then getting into it. And sometimes it takes you a while to finally, here's what this story is. Here's what this commercial is really about. It's not selling a truck; it's selling families and coming home, stuff. So it takes a while to, if the copy is really good, to kind of figure out how to make it your own. I don't know. It's kind of an American Idol phrase, but it's kind of what you have to do.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I'm honestly just speechless.
Well, that's not good in voiceover. Then AI is just going to come right in. I can sock.
I'm saying all manner of words, but wow, geez, that is wow, bro, that is some spooky insight you just gave me. Mind explosive.
Oh, well, okay. What part of it? I'll write it down so I can remember it. You mean about coaching, or just how to approach copy, or?
Well, actually, you essentially answered my question, because I was just wondering, like, how do you guide that, and you essentially answered the question. Honestly, but like, in all honesty, I was hoping for like like you to say, how I let them find their voice is I astrally project myself into their body. I hijack their body for about 20 minutes. And I'm just
that's where impersonation comes in handy. So you segue to a great. A lot of my career was built on impersonations. To the point where, for instance, a lot of if you go back and you look at Pajama Sam, the jailer in that was Paul Lynde, totally Paul Lynde. Hello there, healthy boy. I mean, it was just total flat out impersonation. And I said, "Are you worried that there will be some loss?" No, we don't. Who's one? The audience of the game doesn't know Paul Lynde, but also Barney Fife has been a blessing to me over the years. I don't know why. I used to watch the Andy Griffith Show growing up, and I was annoyed by Barney because he was such a whiny. Why was he so whiny and so needy? And for a 7-year-old kid, I thought that had great insight. But I found out to mock him, I'm getting sick and tired of all this running around. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I can't. I don't have the high pitch anymore. But Barney Fife became a staple in everything I would do. For my radio jobs, I would have him be a security guard. Well, hi there, I'm just checking the perimeters, doing that. I don't know, maybe you guys, are you even familiar with Barney Fife?
I am, actually. My mom watched the living crap out of Andy Griffith, and I'm just like, okay.
Oh, there you go. So nip it in the bud, just nip it, nip it.
Oh, man, I don't know if I should. I don't know
all of those. People have, back when I was starting in voiceover in Seattle, they loved that. They were enamored by it, and I did an Oregon fruit commercial for it's. You just put it in the pan. It had nothing to do. Barney Fife had nothing to do with Oregon fruit flavoring you put in a pie filling, but they wanted that for the voiceover, and it was like, okay. So a lot of in Spy Fox, I'm Mr. Utterly the cow, so I'm a cow, and it's a version of Barney, but he's Mr. Utterly, So that's really worked well for me. Another one, so that's a case of doing impersonation. Now, a lot of people, everybody does Christopher Walken, crazy. So the thing you can do with impersonations, though, so you're not outright just copying, is you can morph that character into another character. Let's say, give me a suggestion. We'll do a little improv. Give
I
me a
mean,
suggestion of a celebrity.
Okay. Oh,
See if I can
jeez.
do them.
Um, jeez.
I know. I
I'm
know
trying to
this.
like, because in all honesty, the Obama's Dark Secret cartoon that I mentioned to you was, because I do this all the time with either cartoon characters or political figures. I take them out and put them in strange scenario. Former President Barack Obama came out
Okay.
as a huge Pokemon fan for quite literally no reason. That was literally the basis for that cartoon, and he just went on a rant on how much he loves Charizard from Pokemon.
Nice.
Yeah, and he took a jab at Hillary Clinton because at it was she. Now this is hella old now, but like this was like just at the curtails of her saying "Pokemon go to the polls," which I did not like. I hated that line so goddamn much. Just ask Captain K, Kevin, Gabe, or Robert. They know. They know. They know.
You know. You know.
Oh my god. So he so
Well, let's try this. Can you do a version of it doesn't have to be spot on, but can you do a little bit of Barack Obama?
Yeah, sure.
Say, a man walked into a nightclub with a beautiful girl in his arm. Just say that.
A man walked into the nightclub with a beautiful girl around his arm.
Okay, now, what other character, let's say, can you do a Bill Clinton?
Oh,
Oh, can he?
there we go. There
Can
we
you
go.
do Bill Clinton? Okay, good. I
You-
think I hit a nerve.
Perfect suggestion.
Let's hear oh, we brought the chicken in on that one. All right, let's do your best Bill Clinton and say the same line. A man walks into a nightclub with a beautiful girl in his arm.
He's got the giggles.
Because I also made the Clinton giggle.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do the Clinton giggle at the end of the sentence, but I gotta like try to.
Okay.
A man walks into a nightclub with a beautiful girl around his arm, right?
Yeah, on his arm, you know.
A man walked into a nightclub with a beautiful girl around his arm.
The chuckle sells it.
By the way,
Right.
that little that's gold. You put that on all of your auditions at the end, and they'll book you because that guy made me laugh. So now try this. Can you morph those two characters together a little? And it's going to sound weird, but it's a brand new character. Give me an Obama has been Frankenstein together with Bill Clinton, and a man walks into a nightclub with a beautiful girl in his arm.
The man walks into a nightclub with a beautiful girl around his arm.
Now, that's actually good. So what you would want, so you would record that because you sound like somebody, I don't know, in a club. I'm picturing you're a saxophone player in a Chicago jazz club. I don't know why that you sound like you could be Boots Randolph, but I don't know.
That would be his stage name, but his real name would have to involve Clarence in some way. It has to involve Clarence. Am I wrong on that? Can I get some people to agree?
That'd be Clarence. Yeah,
Clarence.
Clarence Boots Randolph.
Yeah, well, Clarence Boots.
Clarence Boots McGee.
Clarence, yeah, Boots would be the nickname. I don't know, but yeah, Clarence. He started playing the clarinet, and then he advanced to the saxophone. I don't know, but what you did is you created a new character. So, and this is a case where doing character voices is or impersonations can work to create a whole new character that nobody go, oh, he's got, it's going to be in the perception of whoever is listening who they think it is. So, but yeah, some of mine were flat out just kind of, we're going to go with Barney Fife on that one. And I also met Tom Brokaw at one point.
What?
Yes, when I was working for King Broadcasting in Seattle, and Tom was an NBC affiliate, and Tom was on some tour around the country. I don't know if he was announcing that he was going to nightly network anchoring news. I don't know, but I had the privilege of engineering Tom's promo session where he came in and he would say, you know, stay tuned for. You know, he would do little drop-ins for other news anchors and stuff. And it was very, you know, he was just led to the door. I got to shake his big meaty fist. He has a very meaty hand, and he walked in. Now, what I noticed about Tom was that he had, I don't know if it's a North Dakotan accent where he's South Dakota, North Dakota, wherever he's from. He has trouble with his L's and his R's. His L's are, so here's what it sounded like. I'm Tom Brokaw, King 1090. So King 1090 was the 10 was the AM frequency.
Yeah.
110. So, but he would say King 1090. And Seattle came out Seattle. So it was Tom Brokaw, NBC News, Seattle, and King 1090. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. So that became my I started imitating him, and I called him Tom Broken Jaw. He's got like a broken jaw. And I ended up doing those for radio stations around the country. As I would do fake news headlines, you know, and it would just be a joke. But this is Tom Brokaw at King 1090 with the King 1090 news update, you know, and it would be, you know, dairy farmer or scientists have discovered that when dairy cows laugh, milk comes out their nose. Details later with me. You know, there would just be dumb little drop-in things like that. But that made me money over the years of flat out impersonating Tom Brokaw. So anyway, now, you know, he's no longer on the air. So all my impersonations are dead now or retired. So, you know, I need to be like Matt Fiend, who can do. Are you familiar with Matt Fiend? You see him on. He's a young guy. God, he does everybody. He does Clinton and you know, of course, Trump and just everybody. He does Bill Maher. He does Howard Stern. Oh my God, this guy he's on fire. And anyway, he's Fiend, Fiend, something like that. Look him up. He's coming to a station near you in King 1090.
King 1090. Still weird.
But yeah, oh my God, I need to work on some new characters here. But
yeah, on that note, we are actually coming close to time. Kevin, did you have any questions for?
Not particularly at the moment because he's kind of went through everything.
Damn it! Sorry, Kevin. Did I take did I take your mojo?
No, it's fine.
Well, now that sounded like Barney Fife.
Could I make a very quick request for a Barney Fife Bowser combination?
Here we go. I've never had one of these. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Mario, I'm getting sick and tired of this running around. When are you going to nip it in the bud? Nip it, nip it, nip it. Nip it.
Beautiful.
That was awful.
That was good. That was
It
awesome.
needs workshopping. A good request.
I will end this interview with one last question. This has nothing to do with anything that we've talked about. I pulled this on a previous guest. Her name is Iris Barrett. Heavily suggest you read her. You grab her stuff. Anyway, but like. I asked her an off-brand question about chicken nuggets. I will not ask that same question, but what I will ask is this. This is about chicken, though.
Okay.
If you put cheese on a chicken sandwich, is it still a chicken sandwich or is it a chicken burger?
Ooh, cheese. That's a tough question. I might have to check it out on answering that. I think it's still a sandwich.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, because it's not, burger. It's not. Do they have chicken burgers? I guess they do. Yeah, but no, it's still it's a sandwich. There you go. Did I win?
Yes.
What do I win?
You won in my heart.
I win $3. Bark, bark, bark.
Thank you so much for coming along to the Chicken Coop, Scott Burns.
Oh.
If Don't that about us. Hold on, let me try to. I'm still starstruck, man. Like that's. I'm never not gonna be fucking. I can honestly say we interviewed Scott motherfucking Burns.
I'm gobsmacked. No, thank you. I'm not. I'm just here doing. I don't even have anything to play with here. Maybe I have this. Oh, look.
You should be like, you just got burn noticed.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Well, this is
that's so.
yes. This is me in 2020. That's all I got.
Thank you
No,
so
thank
much.
you. I'm honored. I love talking about me. No, I love talking about the business, and it's been a great business. Of all the careers that I've worked it with, voiceover it's never left me as being the most fun. So and enjoyable and profitable in some cases. Rarely, but most cases.
And impactful on so many people.
That's true. Especially Bowser. I mean, it's like, yeah, because I realized, when he was just, again, they said these are kids, and now here you are, and globally, I went to Amsterdam for a show, the Heroes Made in Asia event, and I was like, the Netherlands. Where are the Netherlands? Okay, I'll be there. So you don't realize how global the Bowser is. So. Rock on.
The Netherlands. Now, who is the Dutch from Georgetown?
I missed that. Is that Robert?
Okay, Robert. Thank
Robert,
you. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hospitals look great, by the way, Robert. Yeah, there's just one little, okay, yeah, I think you got it.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to touch it. But I will say thank you so much for coming on to the Chicken Coop, and thank you all for for being on the Chicken Coop. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You could catch us on Amazon Music, YouTube, and Spotify. You all take care later on.